2.
What's up, everybody? It's me, San Martin, and very good morning to you guys. I'm here on the scene at the Prescott Executive Offices in Prescott, Arizona, and I'm here, like always, with somebody that you definitely need to hear. And at the same time, you guys better listen up because this is a very serious conversation that you all need to go ahead and be a part of. So with that being said, tell everybody who you are and what makes you happy.
My name is Kelly Lee. I am a program manager for MATFORCE. What makes me happy? My family.
There we go.
Yeah.
Shout out to the fam.
Yeah.
You know, one of the cool things about life in general is that there's always people that are advocating for life. And obviously, it's a big deal because some people don't know the direction. And some of the direction they end up choosing is through other means of life. So tell everybody kind of what you got going on and who you are and who is MATFORCE.
Sure. So MATFORCE has been around for 20 years. We just celebrated our 20th anniversary. We are a primary prevention coalition. So we're a very small organization, but we have folks that come and sit at our table from all sectors of the community to help us come up with actionable items, education, messaging to provide education for the community on substances and things that are going on in the community that they should be aware of.
And then what is your exact role?
So my role is to manage some of the programs that we have grant funding for. So I run our trauma lens care program, which is an app that law enforcement can use to alert us and the school administrator when a child has experienced trauma at home from a police situation. They're on scene, they see a child is suffering from some traumatic event, whether it be an overdose or a parent being arrested or a domestic violence situation, whatever it is, house fire. They put in a little report giving me and the school administrator a heads up. I communicate with the school on how we can support the student and the family, and we provide some resources there.
Sounds like a big task.
It is. We're so grateful that our law enforcement officers utilize it and they can really see the benefit, so that the school gets a heads up. The kids are there the next day, 9 out of 10 times, and so they can support them and they can understand why they don't have their homework done, or they're tired, or they haven't eaten, or grandma's brought them to school, so they can support them at school so that they're comforted and they have trusted adults.
You know, we actually had an interview the other day, or yesterday actually, and it's regarding, foster kids. Mm-hmm. And I mean, no matter where you are at, there is a need and a necessity for people to come together. So right. It's a tribe thing, guys. This is the reason why we are working advocaatly together for a better tomorrow. And, and I tell you what, we always got to take, 10 steps forward, and sometimes we take 20 steps backwards, and it's a little crazy. Yeah. And today's conversation is a little bit more of a somber conversation, and it's about overdosing and what's happening in our communities. So I know we don't have, well, maybe you do have a lot of the numbers that are happening. Yeah. So can you kind of let everybody know what is going on in our world today?
Right. So MATFORCE has been facilitating the Overdose Fatality Review Board here in Yavapai County since 2016. We were one of the first counties to have an overdose review board. And so what we do is we collect all of the overdose cases from the medical examiner's office. We get the ME report, toxicology, police report, medical records, and then I do family interviews when they do volunteer to do that. We reach out to them for those interviews, and they're really informative. I mean, we get way more information from the family than we do from any of the other reports. Uh-huh. We do a comprehensive deep dive. We have an overdose review board that sits and looks at these cases, what the cause was, where they were in life, were they unemployed, were they unhoused, what were some of the commonalities, and we put together an annual report, which we just put on our website this week. Every year we do this. And it really tells a picture. We get to see trends, some good, some bad. I will tell you that last year, 2025, we had 61 overdose drug deaths in our county, which is down from 66 the year before. In 2020, I think we had 83, so we're on a good downward decrease. but these are still 61 folks that lost
I
their
think
lives.
one is too much
Yes.
already, but
Yes.
you know what I mean, and that's kind of where MATFORCE shows up. This is where MATFORCE shows up. It's all about education. It's all about showing and exhausting all these avenues of saying, hey guys, this is all about the education. And it seems like trends are changing all the time.
Yes.
And I sat in probably about 3 or 4 steering committees, and you guys could discuss some of the things that are in over the counter that needs to kind of be like, hey guys, this is something that is not supposed to be over the counter,
right?
But it's accessible,
right?
And you don't even have to be 18 years old to go ahead and purchase this type of thing over the counter,
right?
So, as far as educating the community, what is one of the things that you feel that needs to get out to the community to kind of either slow down the process of an overdose, or maybe even intervene when you actually see something? What are some of the things and the trends you're seeing right now?
Some of the positive trends we're seeing is we haven't had a young person under the age of 18 die of an overdose since 2020.
Wow, nice.
That year, unfortunately, we had 4, and a couple of them were classmates of my kids in middle school. So we're talking 14-year-olds. And so we are all about prevention, education to kids. Let's get them young. Let's, get in there. But what we're seeing with the, 18 and over crowd is that's where our overdoses are taking place. And age category shift, last 2 years, we saw an increase in our seniors overdosing on illegal fentanyl and methamphetamine. And so we want to focus on older populations. Maybe they had been users prior, and for whatever reason they started back up again. We want to educate all ages, not just kids, but parents. We want parents to get the information. We're in front of the kids. Mm-hmm. We're in front of thousands of kids, 15,000 kids a year. It's the parents. We need to get them the same information so that they can connect and have a conversation about it. You should be talking to your kids early and often. And I'm not talking about fentanyl with kindergartners. We talk about what's safe to touch, taste, and smell in kindergarten. What if you don't know what it is, you shouldn't touch it. And then we start getting into, unfortunately, with trends in social media, we start getting into topics and substances in 4th grade. So we're seeing that like 11, 12, 13-year-olds, they know what vapes and marijuana and alcohol are. Our top 3 substances for kids to use are alcohol, marijuana, and vaping. And so we hit those hard in the schools, and we start that in 4th, 5th, 6th grade. We get into meth and fentanyl and prescription drug abuse, in the older grades.
It's insane to hear. I mean, while you're talking to me, it's just like, what is the influence? Who is the influence? Where are they getting this information? Because back in the days, it was like, we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have the social media means. And mind you guys, I do utilize social media. Yes. But at the same time, it's like, where is this coming from,
Yes.
And then I this brings me back. I was totally off freaking like tangent, but it was like we were doing a family fun event. And here I am, playing my music that I play on a regular basis, and being naive to what are the words that are being spoken in these music. I started listening to this music, and I'm like, is this actually suitable for our community here? Right. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, this is off my playlist now, out of respect, for my surroundings. But then I also started thinking, is that how much do you think that music influences me to go ahead and feel like it's okay?
It's normalizing, and so that's what if we we fought legalization of marijuana for a long time, and it was tough getting pushback. But when you see that kids realize that if something's made legal, then they assume it's safe, even though it's not legal for them. It's not legal until they're 21. They still feel like, oh well, it's legal, so it's safe, and that's not the case. And even with alcohol, I wasn't around when that was legalized, but when it's legal, it gives them the impression, or their perception of risk is lowered. And so we want to drive home that you still need to be educated on it, and we still need to tell you what the side effects are, and the impairment, and driving under the influence, and all of those things go along with it. And so just because something's legal and adults are utilizing it doesn't still mean that it's safe. And we want kids to have every moment of opportunity for their brains to develop before they make those decisions.
Yeah, and just to be honest, the guys' brains don't fully develop until what, 42?
You guys are a little behind us, I'll just tell you. About 3-ish years. But yeah, it's 26, 27, and you know, as adults, we look at young adults and we're like, okay, I understand their thought process because they're not there yet, and they don't have the life experience plus the brain maturity to make those non-impulse decisions.
Yeah, and it's so insane that, you know, we talk about the prohibition of alcohol, the prohibition of marijuana, and it's like these things, I feel like were placed in our world, but it's not for a point of like overdosing or actually having it as a crutch or even a means to go ahead and supplement the life that we're living. You know, it was in moderation, I felt, but it's like, you know, addicted people, personalities, addicted personalities don't have that
or they don't know at that age, right? So we're seeing with these overdose cases that 67% of the folks that unfortunately have passed from an overdose started using alcohol and marijuana before the age of 18. So I don't want to get into a debate about gateway drugs and all that stuff. It just lends itself to, okay, what's next? Okay, now what? You know, I've done this, I'm going to try something else. Which 30 years ago was okay to experiment, but you can't experiment with fentanyl. I mean, this stuff is a different animal. You can't experiment with meth because you don't know if fentanyl's in it. You can't experiment with, you know, cocaine because it's higher potency, and if you're mixing it with alcohol, it causes a reaction in your body. There's just so much that we know now that we probably didn't know 30 years ago, that is just the risks are too much.
Yeah, you know, and every time you say something, I always think about all these movies back in the past where they were like okay with cigarette smoking, they were okay with drinking a little martini, and I mean, they made it so sexy and like so relevant. It was like, you know, where were our moral standards and where was our
But we
thoughts
know
back
better
in the
now,
days?
right?
Yeah, it's just so crazy.
Know better.
It's just so crazy that lifestyle was actually reality. You know, they centralized the cocaine lifestyle and the life of the rich and famous. It's like, this is crazy that, you know, there's an agency such as MATFORCE out here saying, hey guys, you know, this life that you're thinking is okay is not okay, and it's not safe because of the actual mixture of drugs that they're putting into it.
Right.
So as far as education, we obviously want to get the message out there. What do you see trending right now in schools?
So for kids, it's vaping. That's been a huge issue. And now since they've cracked down on vaping in schools, now we're seeing those Zyn pouches. I don't know if you know what those are. So it's a pouch, nicotine pouch, that they can easily conceal during the day, and they put, you know, 6 or 7 in, you know, all day, and it's undetectable because there's no smoke, and it's like a chewing tobacco pack.
Yeah, I thought there was isn't there some like that are for like caffeine too?
Yeah, they have caffeine ones as well. So instead of energy drinks, they're doing that. But the vaping, marijuana and alcohol are the substances that we're hearing about.
Now, for the vaping portion of it, obviously, personally, I think that, you know, this chemical that they're putting into these vapes are causing some sort of issues. What kind of issues are arousing with the vaping part?
So we're seeing a lot of lung issues with vaping because you're introducing water and vapor into your lungs that doesn't need to be there.
Which is not good.
We already have enough, and when there's too much, then you start having problems with pneumonia and other lung issues. And so we're seeing kids, teens, hospitalized for that.
Wow.
We have some that have spoken at our drug summit about their experiences. And so it's, you know, it's something, just because it's not smoking a cigarette, you're still introducing chemicals that you don't know what's in them into your body that shouldn't be there.
Wow. I saw a video the other day, and the person was driving a Tesla or something like that, and in the cabin itself it had this air rating of sorts. And all of a sudden he was going crazy. He's like, oh my gosh, you guys gotta see this. You guys gotta see this. So let me show you this feature. And then so the feature was going on where it would tell you what the outside air quality is. And then he turned it into the interior of the cabin air quality, and it was perfectly fine, you know, awesome air, filtered air, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden he takes one little hit off of his vape, and it just literally goes skyrocketed to like 7 or 8 and said, this is is not good. This is not good. And so the guy was like tripping out. He was like, oh my gosh, and we were smoking this. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, that is insane that, this simple program in a car could go ahead and tell you what is not really good to be going into your body.
And that's in the air. That's not the stuff that you're forcing into your lungs. So that's a whole different, risk.
Yeah. And, I feel like God has actually, built an amazing body that allows you to go ahead and push things out of your body. Obviously when you get sick, there's a reason for it. There's something building up and you sweat it all out and stuff like that. But this right here is a constant damage. And I'm not innocent from when it comes down to utilizing some of the stuff that you've been speaking about. It's just in my head. I'm like thinking to myself, it's all right. I got 9 lives.
Right.
But as I get older, it's just like, okay, man, I don't got 9 lives. I can't drink like I used to. And, and for me, my brain goes into drinking and then also smoking cigarettes. And so I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, is this really a path that I want to go? But I'm starting to see a lot more younger people saying, I don't want to drink.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out there and do this partying anymore. I see non-alcoholic bars coming up. Mocktail bars, coffee freaking, what do they call it, like raves or something in the midday. So everybody's enjoying being sober.
Yeah.
So I like seeing that trend happening a lot.
Yeah.
So with this being said, what kind of education would you like to go ahead and share with this community right now that you guys are initiating within the next few months or even the year?
Yeah. So we have, when we do these reviews and we see trends, we really are trying to push out education on meth because this was something that was tackled. That's why MATFORCE was created in 2006, was to fight the methamphetamine epidemic that was going on in the community. And, as trends ebb and flow and we have like a whack-a-mole situation going on, it's back. And majority of our cases are meth involved. It's higher potency than it was before. And it's causing what's called meth toxicity. So you're not overdosing and poisoning yourself on meth as you would on fentanyl. It's destroying your organs. It's doing a huge number on cardiovascular. So we're seeing younger folks, 30s, 40s, overdosing on meth and having cardiovascular issues at the same time. It shouldn't be happening because they're so young, but meth is doing a number on the cardiovascular system.
Wow!
And so we're seeing meth overdoses increasing. We're seeing fentanyl overdoses decrease, which is good. We are seeing no overdoses with kids, which is great. But that methamphetamine, it's coming back.
Wow. Do they know exactly where this substance is coming from? I mean, obviously we know that people that obviously want to make money off of this is probably the direct culprit from this. But is there like a trend of where it's coming from, like over the border?
Right. So back in the day when I was in probation, we had meth labs here. In neighborhoods. People were cooking it at their house. And then, we weren't seeing that for a long time. It is coming up from the border. The precursor chemicals and all of that is coming from China, and they're super labs in Mexico that are creating this stuff and then bringing it over. Wow. So we have meth seizures that are skyrocketing. Fentanyl seizures are going down and meth seizures are going up, but that's only the stuff that they're catching, right? So there's still stuff in our community, and I'm interested to see if we have any meth lab busts here. We had one in Buckeye a few weeks ago, and that was interesting to see that somebody's now starting to try and manufacture it here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like every time you, like you said, whack-a-mole, you hit that whack-a-mole and all of a sudden something else pops up. So as far as MATFORCE is advocating for the safety of all people.
Yes.
But right now the main focus is at understanding what is actually going through the school system, and that's where I was experiencing most of my drugs was in freaking school.
We're not seeing it in school, but we are seeing. We do a survey, Arizona Youth Survey, every 2 years, 8th, 10th, and 12th graders. And we ask them all those questions. Where are you getting it? How easy is it to get? How often do you use? If you don't use, why not? And we ask them all of these questions. The results are published on the Arizona Criminal Justice Commission website. And that's where we get our data and our direction. And so if we're seeing, vaping, We don't see cigarettes anymore. We see vaping, and it's based on these surveys of what the kids are telling us. And that's where we focus our programs. That's where we focus the conversations that we're having with the kids and with the parents. And so when we go into schools, and we're in kindergarten through 12th grade, in majority of schools that will have us, and we talk about the brain connection, what drugs and alcohol do to your brain and your body, health. We talk about coping skills. We talk about stress management, because kids are, telling us that they're using because they're bored, they're sad, and they have stress. And so let's tackle those things first and foremost, and teach them how to manage their stress. Other ways to do things: boxing, sports, art, music. What's interesting to you? What's going to keep you on a path of making good choices? And so we talk about those things with them. And then we do talk about the dangers of using and making poor choices, and what happens to somebody's trajectory of their life when they make those bad decisions.
Man, my brain is just going and going. Like, where does this derive from? How do we get here? Why are we here? And being raised in a single family home, yep. Parent is always at work.
Yep.
They're there to go ahead and make sure that we have a roof over our head. Right. And that's when when the cat is away, the mice will play attitude. And I tell you what, it takes a tribe, guys. It really honestly takes a tribe. Advocacy, things that are being done in this community. We work with the juvenile hall. You
Yep.
brought up boxing. We have the Lionheart boxing gym, and we do a program with the Journey program.
Yep.
And the program is to go ahead and do one thing, is to go ahead and enlighten them to do something that they have never done before,
Right.
that in hopes that they would go ahead and be a part of something, that they don't have to go ahead and get this high off of alcohol or a high off of marijuana, or just even having that lifestyle. And to see them do and getting their eyes like lit up, like, oh shoot, I like this.
Yeah.
That's the ticket. That's what we're looking for. But that's only a couple kids.
Right.
There's thousands upon thousands of kids, and you said that something that leads to it is through boredom. Like in Prescott, obviously, everybody's like, there's nothing for the children to do here.
Right.
And being born and raised in Prescott, Chino Valley, or even Prescott Valley, I tell you what, it's very hard to go ahead and find something that was going to go ahead and like just make you feel good. But once again, we're influenced by music, we're influenced by the schools that we go to, but then they're all influenced by the music they listen to, or even the YouTube channels that they listen to. We're in a big old battle.
Yeah.
So how can the community help, and how can we be a part of something that will, help save a life?
Right. So we have many different websites, social media platforms. Talk Now AZ is our website for parents to learn more about anything about substances, about our life skills programs, about how to talk to your kids, how to have those initial awkward conversations. We also have Learn More AZ. That's for the kids to go and learn about things. We talk about brain science. We talk about health and making good choices, and how to deal with stress, and how to handle life as it comes at you without having to utilize drugs and alcohol. And then we also have our MATFORCE page that will take them to everywhere. We have monthly messages where we do a virtual lunch and learn for an hour. You log in, it's interactive, you can ask questions. We have guest speakers come and talk on all different topics. I think our next topic is we're going to talk about our Teachers as Mentors program. We are all about hitting the kids where they are at points of trauma, and maybe they need a little extra support. So now we're pairing them with a school staff member who meets with them every day and is just kind of like a big brother, big sister kind of thing. And so we have a mentoring program in 8 schools in the county. We just want people to know that we're trying to support kids early on. We are big into prevention. Let's put the effort before it happens instead of after. We have all of these reentry programs that we support. We have a recovery program that we support folks in recovery, but let's push the focus to prevention before it even gets out of hand, and before we lose folks that we love.
Wow. And I tell you what, it's an everyday battle, everyone. And I know there's a lot of families out there that struggle with their children and stuff, but I tell you what, there's advocacy programs out there. And I open up my door. I'm not a nonprofit, but we do definitely have a program where if you can't afford it, don't worry, bring the children. We're going to open up the door for them. We're never going to say no.
Yeah.
And I priced it to a point where it's just like, it's $45 a month.
Yeah.
And you can bring the children, I think it's, 16 times a month, and, to come release some energy. So
Right.
It takes people like us to go ahead and help those people that are out there like you guys that are watching, whether you be a single parent or you got a child that's out of control or whatever it may be. Open up, ask some questions. Now, you said that you guys do these actual videos. Do they play after the time? Because sometimes people can't obviously show up.
We do not pre-record or record them while we're doing them. That we're kicking around that idea so that we can post them and they can go on and learn about it on their own time. But we have other programs. We do free parenting education classes. We do school staff trainings on trauma. We're a trauma-informed organization, and so we're big into that. We have all of the websites and all the programs on our website that parents can go to. They can call us anytime. Reach out. We have resources in the community to help. If you are experiencing substance use in your home, we can direct them to resources here. There's online resources that are amazing as well. We have a lot of organizations in our community like Polaire Health and Spectrum that are there to help you and parents. We have crisis hotlines. Even if it's not a crisis and they just have a question, we can direct them to folks that will just sit and listen.
Wow. So many resources, everyone. I'm telling you, they're there. They're all there. Okay, so we're going to end this. I know you got a busy day. If there's one last thing that you want to go ahead and share with the community, now is your time.
I would just say get involved with your kids' schools. They're there to support you and your student. Reach out to us, get on our website and learn. Just learn everything that you can. Learn about what's going on in the community. Get your kids involved in activities, whether it's sports, music, theater, whatever that is. Find their passion so that they have something to reach for, help them with their goals. And if they are struggling, there are resources out there.
Yep. And I tell you what, there are many resources out there. You guys just need to go ahead and seek them out before it's too late.
Yeah.
So with that being said, guys, I got to get out of here. And I'm pretty sure that you guys better get back to work right now if you're watching us, or you guys need to get to work. With that being said, peace, love, and happiness. Let it not be war. And remember, love always wins. We'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.